welcome to Talk Uncensored. Again, we are now on our, I'm going to say 6th episode. It's between the 6th and the 7th. It's one of those.
6. No.
6.
Yeah.
6. I am April Hogan.
I am Akayshia, Estee, and of course we have a special guest with us.
Yes, we do. So we have Mr. Adrian Hargrove, and she's going to read a little bit about him, and then we're going to get to hear some background information.
That he does.
Right, absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Y'all want to hear my customer service voice? Okay, here we go. Adrian Hargrove. Just kidding. Adrian Hargrove is an avid youth mentor, educational and mental health advocate, and motivational speaker who has dedicated his life to service to others. Throughout his nonprofit, the Hargrove, and his motivational speaking, Adrian strives to impact the lives of students, educators, and the community. Drawing from experiences in his personal life as an example to get to the heart of the matter, Adrian aspires to inspire and motivate youth and individuals to recognize their strengths, overcome obstacles, and achieve their goals and dreams. Adrian is a senior consultant and the senior vice president of philanthropy and community involvement with Affinity, Recruiting LLC. He is also an anger management counselor with Aspire Counseling. Adrian has earned his bachelor's degree in business administration, master's degree in public administration, education specialist degree, and is currently earning his doctoral degree in education and organizational leadership. Welcome, Adrian Hargrove.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today?
Doing awesome.
There's a lot of degrees in there.
It is.
So,
bam.
right. And he's in the process of another bam.
Yes.
So
Awesome.
Tell me,
Amazing.
first of all, before we even get into the business, tell us, who is Adrian Hargrove?
Adrian Hargrove is Huntsville, Alabama native, born and raised here. Ended up spending some time in California, and then I just moved back in 2019. And I just have a heart for people, a heart for the community, and just really wanting to give back and do everything that I can to help. I guess they say, reach back and pull others up, as I also look to learn from those who came before me.
Cali.
Yeah.
That's far away.
I've only been once, and I almost wanted to move instantly.
I had family there. So what took you to Cali, and then what brought you back?
I went to play basketball. Actually, I ended up going out there to Pacific Union College. Okay. Spent some time after graduating there. Spent some time in Southern California, and then just moved back to kind of get a reboot. Some life things happened, and just wanted to come back and kind of get a reboot. And again, invest in the community. Just give back and bring back some of the things that I've learned and see how can I make an impact for the community I grew up in.
Okay, absolutely. So how's it been being back?
I love it. The gas prices are much better
than there, right. So all you guys complaining about gas prices here.
It's crazy. Cost of living, but again, just being home, just being surrounded by family, seeing again where I grew up. Reconnecting with some people and again, just really pouring back into my community and being able to see what impact I can have.
Absolutely. So now you have a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the nonprofit. Tell us about what the goal is and the inspiration behind.
So the Hargrove, of course, is a play on my name, Hargrove. But the idea kind of came because of the heart and a grove. So your heart basically pumps blood throughout the body. It's kind of a filter, and that's my goal for the community, is to kind of be a filter, is to bring in the resources as the heart does, nutrients, and then to kind of try to pump out the things we don't want, try to eliminate that. And then the grove is a community. So I looked at, there were a lot of groves, orange groves and things like that in California. And so a grove is basically just a community of trees. And so that idea is just our community. So, a grove, a community of people who are bringing in the right things and trying to eliminate the new thing, the bad things, or things we don't want from our communities.
So that's the first time I did not know what a grove. I didn't know
Me
that. So we learn new things. One thing that we will say, never stop learning. So I didn't know that. So what's the inspiration behind the Hargrove?
The inspiration, I've worked in group homes pretty much since I started, and just seeing the kids that were coming in. Sometimes you bring them in, you help them, you give them tools, and you train them on different things, and then you send them back to the communities where they run into some of the same issues. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of like, how do we start at the heart of the matter, which is the community. And so, again, wanting to come back and saying, okay, what things is my community struggling with, and how can I go into that community, partner with other leaders, and create that growth. And that was kind of the thought process behind it, and what spawned it, working with young people, more so in the group home settings, and saying like, wait a minute, we're helping them here, but then you send them back to the community and they still running into the same issues.
Okay. How to overcome those things.
Absolutely. So you said anger management.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious on how you got into that, into the anger management piece, and what is, and this is just out of my curiosity, the biggest struggle with dealing with that, right?
Anger management, yeah.
So I got into it. One of my mentors, a gentleman by the name of Choya Wise, is the owner, president of Aspire Counseling. Mm-hmm. And so again, when I came back, just talking to him, like, hey, big bro, I want to get involved in more things. And so he was like, hey, I have an opportunity. I have an anger management class that I could use some help with. And so I was like, well, never really done a class, especially with adults. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I work with youth, but at the end of the day, I said, hey, it's all the same, I guess, in some ways or another. We're just big kids.
Yeah. Whatever they're angry about, it goes back to whatever trauma it is, even Absolutely. If it is as a child. So.
Absolutely. And so I went into the class, and I guess I'm jumping a little bit ahead of myself because we talk about our purpose today. But I was comparing myself to other counselors, other facilitators, just from observing. And it was just like, well, that's not me. I can't really do it the way they do it. Mm-hmm. And so he encouraged, like, just be yourself. And so the way I facilitate the class is very organic. Mm-hmm. I don't have handouts. It's not, I call it a chaotic structure.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just open dialogue. Mm-hmm. I'll usually have a topic that we're going to discuss, but I let the conversation flow, however it flows. And so I've fallen in love with it, just allowing people to talk and not be ashamed. And, I tell them I've got a little bit of a temper myself.
Do you?
I do. But I'm usually able to kind of keep it, under wraps. And so my message at the beginning of every class is, anger is an emotion just like anything else.
Absolutely.
Nobody complains about someone being happy. Mm-hmm. It's just what you said. Somebody be too happy.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I'm not gonna lie. They did used to bother me. You pull up in the driveway and it's like 6:30 in the morning. And they're extremely happy, and you're like,
why you so?
How?
But see, why is it a bad thing?
Well, now it's not a bad thing. I've grown to learn it.
I love authentic happiness.
Yes.
When it's not authentic is when it starts to get like, okay, you're not that happy.
Yeah.
But what if they are?
Yeah. I mean, but if you're that happy, then you know what?
I want to be that happy too.
Help me.
Yes.
What are you doing every morning?
Well, then, there's a difference between a happy as in I'm just a happy person and a hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like,
that's more personality.
Yeah. But to be an overall happy person,
that's a good thing.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great thing. So
I usually just try to tell them, or we talk about how I see anger as a secondary emotion. Mm-hmm. It's usually not that you're angry first. It's you're sad, you're hurt, you felt disrespected, you felt like you weren't heard. It's usually something else that's kind of brewing under it. And so that's, again, kind of getting to the heart of the matter, or
right.
the root of the issue, as we say in class. And usually when people start, I guess they say, peeling back that onion, and it's just like, oh, wait a minute. So, yeah, this did happen. And that was one of the things that helped me. I went through therapy myself. I'm a big advocate for that.
We're pro-therapy.
Yes,
and
definitely.
once I started realizing some of my whys, it really opened my eyes to some self-actualization. And it's just like, okay, so this is why I act like that, or this is why I respond to these things in these ways. And I think once people start seeing that,
learning those triggers,
you start taking your control back. And you realize, I
Definitely.
didn't lose control, I gave it away.
Right.
And once you start helping them understand that they have that power, then it's just like, oh, so I can make the decision that if you're starting to piss me off, I can say piss off, right?
Yeah.
You're starting to piss me off, I can walk away from you.
Right. And I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to indulge in nothing that you have going on.
Yes.
It's my choice.
Right.
You know, argue with yourself.
Absolutely.
Right. Take your control back.
Absolutely.
So that actually is going to feed us into our topic for today, our first topic for today. Now, this is going to be a little exciting because, number one,
What you got up your sleeve?
this is the first guest that we have on the show that is not just here to just talk about, what they got going on, but they're going to be in our conversation.
Right.
On top of the fact, this is the first male guest.
Hey.
So we get another. We keep saying we need a male perspective.
We have
said that so many times. So
get a little bit of balance going on.
yeah, because right now I know y'all they always, they see it one way. They see it one way, and they only, one-sided. So, you get another side. So our first topic for today is walking in purpose on purpose. Right? It's really difficult to walk in purpose on accident because you kind of got to know
what you got
the
going
purpose.
on.
Right. So, just to kind of start off the conversation, I'm gonna ask just a couple of questions.
Okay.
Do you feel like
you always interrogating people?
No, I am.
No, just kidding. Yeah,
it's part of being a business coach.
She
That's what we do.
people.
That's what we do. So, do you
What you
guys
got for us?
feel like you're currently walking in your purpose?
Not to my full potential. No, I do not think that.
But do you think you're heading I
am.
And when I say walking in purpose, so you have some people who don't exactly know what their purpose is. So they're just working to work, right? Like, I got to make money. I got to take care of my people. I'm working. But do you feel like, because even when you're walking in purpose, you're never at the top because there's always another level up, right? Yeah. So do you feel like what you're working towards right now is within your purpose?
I do believe that. What about you?
Absolutely.
Well, what about you, April?
That is one thing that I can say is that I know, which is why it's so hard. Right. So that's why it's so hard for me to walk away from it. Like, because I'm gonna be honest.
Because your heart, that's where your heart is at.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, as all of us as entrepreneurs, we understand this. And I've seen this written on Facebook today, where somebody has said, "If you are an entrepreneur and you never felt like you wanted to quit, you're lying."
Right.
Look, I put in applications.
Thousands of times.
I put in job applications almost every week. Even though I know.
I don't do right.
I'm
not going to front. I don't do right on no job. I mean, I do. As far as no,
so
let me rephrase that. No, I do as far as getting my job done. But I get my job done so well to the point it's like I can do whatever I want to do.
Well, I'll tell you, my issue is I would always be working on my stuff.
Me too. I have everything there.
So anyway, as far as walking, let's first talk about discovery. How did you discover what your purpose was to know that you were walking in purpose?
Oh, starting with me. I think mine was almost, I saw it growing up. So both of my parents, were really big, in our church. I'll never forget, I grew up in Huntsville, Alabama, so spent some time in BT, Butler Terrace. And my mom would invite all the kids in the community over, be sitting in front of our apartment. And, again, she was a children's ministry leader at church, so she's teaching everybody all the songs, and so I always saw that. And then the same thing with my dad. He drove a van and would pick up elderly for church, and so it was always seeing people in active service, always seeing people in the act of helping someone and giving back. And so I would say my first experiences were seeing that, and then being around youth all the time. Gotcha. So, again, if my mom is the leader, it's, all right, Adrian, do this, Adrian, do that. All right, Adrian, you take this group and do this thing. She had a home daycare for a little while. And then I kind of fell into the group home scene. My godmother, Miss Lorraine Miles, she passed a few years ago. She was one of the directors at the Harris home. And so me and her son, I'm not going to say the summer it was. Date myself. Oh, okay. But one summer, she got us some jobs working with the Harris home and doing just some PE teacher stuff. So we're going around to different schools during the summer and working with summer programs. Okay. And that kind of started my realm into the group home life. And I just loved it. I went to school again for business, so I wanted to be a sports agent. That was my goal. But I was always working in group homes. And I just found I really love this, talking to the young men and watching them grow. And I remember I had a parent tell me this when I was in California. She had called, and I think her son had run away, and he finally came back. And she called one day, and she was just like, "I know when you're not there." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And I had just gone home for the summer while school was out. I'd come home for the summer. And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was just like, "Usually his behavior issues are when you're not there." And I was just like, And, I talked to the director, and it just started showing me that, you really not just have a passion for it, but you're good at it.
Yeah, you have an impact.
You're good at it. The kids just seem to gravitate towards you. And that's just been my falling into that purpose and walking in that purpose. And it's just like, this is what I was made to do.
Okay. And sometimes you can create a passion for things, I believe.
What do you mean?
Like you said, you want to be a sports agent
right.
at first, right? But his life has led him to have an impact on the youth. So
I almost feel like your purpose, you kind of can't escape it. Like even when you want to, there's an area in your life to where you just automatically gravitate to it. Now it's just, do you make that what your life is about, or do you right? So like
anything that happens naturally.
I'm a business coach, but my purpose isn't business coaching. My purpose is teaching. I'm a teacher. I even say in almost everything that I do, what I'm good at is instructing. I'm good at teaching. I'm good at growing things. I used to be a youth pastor, so youth is also one of my passions. I love children. But even with children, it's more of I want you to realize who you are.
Right.
I want you to realize your potential.
That's where the teaching comes in. But I think the goal is, especially when people talk about passion, is for me, when I'm talking to people, it's finding passion within your purpose. Because you can be passionate about music and you can't sing.
Yeah.
But you keep trying to sing, and you feel like, oh, my purpose is to be a singer because I love music. Where your purpose actually might be to be a writer for a singer.
Right.
So you can find purpose within your passion. But singing just ain't for you.
Right. Because there's got to be a natural...
Right.
Something that's just naturally, like even... Just even like running my business, although I did just say that I'd be wanting to quit. I still don't feel like it's work. Right. So I'll do it, and I love it. I almost people have to tell me to, okay, you gotta take a break. You gotta, I'm like, but this is what I love to do. Like, so, and it's crazy. It's one of my stress relievers. Because when people will say, like, you gotta take a break, you gotta rest, but it is rest for me.
Right.
The only difference is when I work according to what somebody else wants me to do. So I have clients. When I'm doing what they need me to do, then that's work. Right. But when it's like, Now on my rest time, I'm doing what I want to do for my work. Mm-hmm. So it's not like requirements, but it's still work. So I feel like all of that. Now you got to tell us, how did you know? You try to skip.
Try to go on to the next thing. Right. So the next question.
Right. How did I know I was walking in my purpose? It just happens. Everything I almost do just happens so naturally. And I always talk about, I don't want to be around no children, but kids like me.
Around you.
And it's almost more so of the teenagers. I gravitate more towards the teenagers, and I can get through to them and I can talk to them. And then too, helping people, because I always see potential in people. I can almost hit it from like a mile away. Like most people, I can tell by how somebody talk if they can sing, which is crazy to me. I'm like, you can sing, and they might not have never told anyone that they can sing, and they're like, how do you know that? I don't really. You can sing, you know. So it's just like a God-given gift, like especially when it comes to knowing people's talents and how far I believe that I can get them to go, and to pull it out of them. So I love it. Mm-hmm. Even though I have to be Joe Jackson sometimes, I love working with people, and I love seeing me pushing them to try to get to their full potential.
Absolutely. So I think I may have already answered it with what I said, but how I found that I was walking in purpose, or what my purpose was, it just literally doing something. Like it took me a while. So my company.
It didn't take me a while. I was leading people at 12.
And so. I won't even say it. Because first of all, it took me a while to learn my voice. I was the.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
I was the quiet one. I was the middle child. I had
corny.
I wasn't corny.
Oh. That's how you make it sound.
I was not corny.
I was nerdy.
I was a nerd, but I'm still a nerd. So
but I was swept my mind still.
I'm still a nerd. But no, so I did have I was a middle child. I had middle child syndrome, which means, the middle child didn't matter that much in my mind. Big sister got everything because she was the oldest. Little brother got everything because he was the only boy and he was the youngest. I was just kind of there. So it took me a while to figure out what my voice was. Like, even people hear me now like, you didn't grow up confident? No. Like, even as a young adult, I wasn't. It took me till I got to a certain age and realizing who I was. Like, really knowing, okay, this is who I am. And until I figured out and really, I'm going to be honest, I'm 36. I will say my age. I just turned 36. It's still August, so technically it's my birthday still. Probably until after my last divorce, which was when I moved here. Middle of that marriage is when I figured out who I was, to the point that couldn't nobody shake who I was. And that was the main reason I walked away from that situation, was because I knew, like, this is who I am. And this is the power that I have, and this is the impact that I make, and even to the point of where I want it to go. And there's nothing that's going to be able to shake that. So now it's just time for me to move in that direction. So, and not that there aren't still times, and I never question my purpose. I never question my passion, but I may question the road, like.
Cause it can get rocky.
Is it?
You be walking and you fall straight into a hole that you gotta climb out of.
This one looks a little shaky. That's a little more straight. God, you sure I'm supposed to do this way?
Right. Yeah.
So
gotta climb mountains.
So with that being said, challenges. What challenges did you find? And get ready, because you know she's gonna come to you first.
Actually, I was gonna try to do right. I was debating in my brain.
Okay, she got you. I was like, well, you always be prepared, because she may.
Turn and look at me.
Right, exactly. So,
because I'm nosy, I like to know stuff.
What kind of challenges do you guys face when it comes to your purpose and what it is that you want to do, love to do, whether it's people, whether it's resources, whether it's environment?
I think a challenge for me is, because I know, I guess like within the last few years, what I'm capable of. Some people try to hush me. Does that make sense? They try to hush me. But you need me. Like, and not even in a arrogant way. Not like that, but it's like, let me do what I need to do so we can all get to where we're trying to go. Like, just let me do me, and I'm gonna handle it. Trust the process. Like, I've never anybody, I feel that if you can go back and ask people who I've worked with, I've always done what I was supposed to do above and beyond. And I feel like I'm that girl when it comes to getting stuff done. That's how I feel. And I'm not gonna I'm gonna say hush for lack of better words, hushed for nobody anymore when I know what I'm capable of. Right. Like, don't hush me.
Right. And don't
put me on the back burner. Like,
right.
Don't do that.
Right.
Because I wouldn't. Well, you can't always say what you wouldn't do because people don't reciprocate all the time. Right. But I just wouldn't do that to nobody else. Like, we in this together. Let's make it happen. Right. No, let's. And then we're gonna get some direction.
But I thought I said my challenges.
What? The rich road?
Yes.
Okay, what happened on the road? What was the challenge? Or the rocky road?
See, I just can't with her. Okay. So I would say some of my challenges would be, and I don't want to say hushed, because I have not even, like, oh, let me tell y'all. And he's probably really mad at me because he knows who it is, but I'm not going to say who it is. I came up with a business plan of something I wanted to do yesterday. Well, I have been coming up with it for a little bit. I don't think I've even told you the story yet. And somebody
yesterday
wanted to look at me and say, no, you got so much going on. You just need to. I looked at him. Oh, you thought I was asking. So my daughter proceeds to say, I don't know why you felt like there was a choice. So I will say, and this is probably something that is also a trauma piece of mine. So I probably take it a lot worse than I should. Mm-hmm. Doubt. Like, I am one that, do not tell me I cannot do it. It not only is it a challenge, but it almost, although it makes me work harder, sometimes it's like that much harder. You know what I'm saying? I am learning how to say, okay, be okay where you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, trust the process. Not only trust it, enjoy the process. Right. You're right here, right now for a reason. Where you were at a year ago or even 6 months ago is not where you are now. Right. So don't be so eager to be here. And my here isn't millionaire, isn't billionaire, isn't I want to stomp on all the little people. My here is, because I always say, and this just shows you where my heart is, I can only do as much as I have. Right? And my passion, my purpose, my desire is to give, but I can only give as much as I have. Right. So I will go through points where I'm like, I just wish I had this so I could give. Right. So a lot of times I am my biggest challenge, unfortunately.
Oh, you need to go cut that motivational thing back on?
Right. What did he say?
I forgot.
So I'm my biggest challenge because I am the one, and I won't stop me from doing anything, but I will tire myself out faster than I should if I just allowed my CEO, which is God, allowed him to do what he needs to do.
Right.
So,
all right.
I was going to say the same thing. My biggest challenge is usually myself. That has been my challenge. And just believing in yourself, believing that what I have is good enough. The gift that God gave me is good enough. And once I started feeling more comfortable in that and saying, okay, I think I can do this. And I'd say a big change for me that led to that was changing, I won't say change, adjusting my circle of people.
Yes.
When I started associating myself with people were doing the things that I was just like, wow, this guy's really amazing, or this lady's really amazing. And then you start meeting these people and you're having conversations and you find out that they go through some of the same struggles that you're going through. They have some of the same
just
doubts.
To push.
It's just at the end of the day, they decided to do something about it. And so it's like, okay, I'm not happy with where I am in life right now. Okay, what are you going to do about it?
Are you going to sit there and sob?
What changes are you going to make? I use an analogy of pushing on the door that says pull. It's like you pushing, okay, that ain't working. So what are you gonna switch up?
Right.
And once I started realizing, you know what, just do something, just do it, and start seeing some success in that. And again, when you're doing it for the right reason, you're not really concerned about the outcome.
Right.
And so regardless of the outcome, you're just enjoying it. You're just happy doing
Out of
something.
love. Everything's done out of love.
And when I started doing that, and then start seeing some of the success that came with it, it was just like, wow, okay, this is fun. And so that was my biggest struggle, I would say, was just getting out of my own head. Overthinking. I overthink.
I don't think I ever had to get out of my own head, but I just thought of another struggle my struggle was putting myself first. I would put everybody else in front of me, because I can work somebody else's business to the T. Like when I say, and I can plan it almost out to the point where I know where it's gonna be if you allow me to run it how I want to, run it. So like you said, you get people around you to make you put yourself first, and to put that same potential that you put into others into yourself.
You getting in your own way, because just as much, and I actually have a coaching session that we talked about this. Just as much work as you'll put into other people, you have to allow yourself to put into you. Which I know you're a hard worker, so I'm not saying you're very hard worker. So we were talking about this in a session where I was saying, like, hey, we go work for the man, and we have lists of tasks that have to be done. If we don't get them done, we get write-ups, or we get whatever happens. When we do good, we get rewards. We have a certain time of the day we have to work for. We have to work. These are our hours. You got to be here. If you're not here, you get whatever, like a point or whatever the system is.
Right.
But how do we hold ourselves accountable for our own business? Do you have a schedule that you work your business from this time to this time? Do you have a list of tasks? With those list of tasks, do you say, all right, if I don't get these done with this amount of time, I give myself this much grace. After this, let me go ahead and write myself up real quick. Accountability, and it sounds silly, but
you gotta run.
You're going to get that. I mean, first of all, you create your process for when you get big enough that now you have a staff. But hold yourself just as accountable. That way you'll do just as much work, if not more, as an entrepreneur. We give ourselves too much slack. Like, we get in that CEO mindset. Oh, well, I work in this part of my business, regardless if it's the only thing you do, because I know we all have other hustles aside from just our business. We still, with our business, we give ourselves too much slack, because it's like, well, the only person I have to, be accountable to is me.
But when that money ain't rolling in, you be somewhat sick. You better be doing your job if you're an entrepreneur at home. Shoot. So we kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit, and you get 3 different perspectives, just in the sense of, which I've said this before on the show, we don't go through anything for us, just like you don't go through whatever you're going through for you. It's for somebody else. And if we don't express the highs, the lows, the goods, the bads, the challenges, all of that, then there's somebody we're robbing of knowing how to do, or knowing that they're not alone in their journey. So that's the reason why we kind of talked about our purpose, what are some of our challenges, what have you. So y'all know I be watching the clock, because we keep going over in our episodes. So we're going to go on a quick break. After this break, when we come back, we are going to talk about building confidence. All right, so we'll see you after these messages. Talk Uncensored every other Wednesday, 12 Central. I'm your host, Akayshia Estee.
I'm April Hogan.
And I'm DJ Ari.
And you can tune in on Instagram. You can tune in on Facebook. You can tune in on YouTube. And soon we will be on Roku TV.
Talk to you soon. You ready? And we are back Talk Uncensored. We've been talking about walking in your purpose, on purpose, with our guest, Adrian Hargrove. And I am your host, Akayshia Estee.
You know, I'm April Hogan.
And what we're going into next, April?
Well, first, welcome back. Thank you again. On behalf of both of us, we want to thank you for being willing to sit here with us for this conversation. So,
thank you for having me.
This next topic is called building confidence. This is something that is really important. Actually, was my topic for a whole year. So every year, as a speaker, every year I come up with a new topic for the year. And not last year. Last year was foundation. The year before that was confidence, because it's so important. And I'll just tell you guys, so I had a coaching call yesterday, and on the coaching call, this was a niece discovery, so it was a new lady. She was expressing how what she's afraid of is, what if I get all this stuff? What do I do with it? So what if, she's like, I need help with financial stuff, because what if I make it and I don't know what to do, right? Mm-hmm. So I am convinced, y'all can tell me differently, or y'all can tell me differently. Okay. People have more fear of success than fear, because we're than failure. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. So we're used to failing. We do that all the time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it sucks.
They're really scared of the unknown.
Right. But then when you succeed, then it's like, now there's an expectation. I've done this. I need to either match it or exceed it. What do I do when I'm here, when all lights are on me, because now it's hard to fail after that, at least mentally, till we realize that's just part of the process. Right. Because people see me here, now that I'm in the limelight, they're going to see me back here, and I don't want that. So do you guys feel like, as far as the comparison between failure and success? Do you feel like failure is more scary?
People always say they're scared to fail, and that's not true, because we get comfortable real quick. Mm-hmm. So that's not true. And we're scared of the unknown, which is success, because you are a success anyways. Mm-hmm. When you become successful, you are the successful person. You are the success. But when you reach those goals and hit those limits, it's what's next. Mm-hmm. We don't know what's next, because you, like you said, you have to go higher and higher and higher. You have to obtain or at least maintain when you hit those levels. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, for some people, how am I gonna, or if they did it on accident, you know,
right. You know what I'm saying? Figure out how to get this wheel that I already, right.
Like, how do I keep this? Like, how do I, and that's how, like we said about the lottery. Mm-hmm. So many people get something that they didn't earn or didn't have a process for, and they end up back where they was square one. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's
so
the fear
you
of success.
Personally though, do you have more? Would you say you are more fearful of failure or success?
Success.
Okay.
Yeah.
At this point, I'd say failure. Okay. There was a point where I felt that way. But again, changing that circle and starting to get with people who are achieving success, and just, my mentor has a mentor. Mm-hmm. Right. One of the things that I remember, one of my mentors saying that if your mentor doesn't have a mentor, if your coach doesn't have a coach, then you got the wrong mentor or coach. Mm-hmm. And so it is. There's levels to it, right. And you're always learning. And I think when we start looking at it as being in the state of constantly learning, constantly evolving, then it takes some of the fear out. Yeah, because now it's just like, okay, there's another level. I'm part of Next Level Living, Next Level Speakers Academy. But just being in a group like that, for example, there's speakers at all different levels. There's speakers that have all different styles. Everybody's doing so many different things that it kind of takes that sting or that fear out of success. It's like success can mean so many different things. Mm-hmm. It can. So now it's like, well, what does my version of success look like? Mm-hmm. And I can be comfortable in that. I don't have to worry about what yours looks like. I can be happy.
The competition and stuff. People, I don't know what people think success.
Mm-hmm. Well, and really, what the thought is, we all are successful in our own right. So, it's just, you may be at this level of success, and your goal is this, but you still have had your successes. I feel like when people look at the big success of $1 million instead of, hey, like, I got my first paid gig, or I got in front of the crowd, or then when you look at those, it's a lot easier to not be afraid of success. But I will tell you guys, as a speaker, I am not afraid to get up in the crowd and talk. Not at all. Like, I may like have my little jitters before I get up there, but as soon as I get up there, it's just, I'm good at it. It's what I do. But I will tell you afterwards, and this has happened to me several times, afterwards, it almost feels like this burden is, I've never spoke at an event that after I got done speaking at the event, people didn't cling to me, because I teach. I don't just get up and, hey, you guys, you need to, no, I teach. So there's always a bunch of information. Now people are like, you said this and this. Can you help me? This is this. So now my problem comes in, not in the fear of success or the fear of failure, the fear of expectation. Because it's like, oh my gosh, now all these people, they see this thing, and I'm happy they see me in this light, but I'm still trying to figure stuff out. So I don't want to be put on this pedestal. Like, I just, like, I want to be able to still, because, you know, as soon as people start to look up to you, now it's kind of like any wrong move can look like, but it's like, I'm still human. Like, allow me to still be.
And no matter how much you explain it to the people that look up to you, I don't think they hear that. They don't hear it.
No, I think that's where the transparency part comes in. And again, that's what's helped me with some of the people that I look up to. It's very transparent.
Right.
They're very real. It's like, nah, it's not going to be easy.
Right. Yes.
Know,
it's my favorite thing to
with
say.
those expectations, you know, will come some more discipline from you. Then also on the flip side is learning how to say no.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
You know, learning how to say no. So as I've started to do more things, you know, sometimes people see you in a light that you don't even see yourself.
Right.
And so then you start getting these asks and these requests and being able to say no and not feel bad about it.
Right.
I think that's my issue.
Not feel like,
with AB.
Oh, you know, you think you're all that. It's just like, no, I just don't have time for that.
Right.
Or I don't have the energy. Or I'm not interested in doing that.
Right.
Like,
and
sounds
it's
like
okay
a great
to say,
opportunity.
I'm not interested
Well,
at
and
this time.
I tell these to my clients as well. Know what you do. Otherwise, people will tell you what you do. Like, they'll give you all this stuff, and you're just saying yes, 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 yes. But if you know your process and what you do, then you can say, I do this, I don't do that. And it's not a matter of, because sometimes you get yourself in a hole. I have a client who does this too. And I'm not saying names, but will not know the whole picture and will name a price. But I'm like, okay, but did you think about these aspects of it? Do you even know if the price you gave is going to cover that? So know what you do ahead of time. Don't be in such a hurry to have, you know, the money conversation until you know what it is you do, what you offer. Right, exactly. So let me ask you guys, since we're talking about confidence, as far as what do you feel like builds confidence?
So I can talk a little bit about this. So part of my, I guess you could say, program, especially when I'm talking to the young people, I call it my ABCs of success. And they vary depending on what the subject matter is. But when it comes to confidence, my ABC is action builds confidence. You have to just do it. I took a public speaking class, and the very first class, the professor said, how do you get better at public speaking? And so people are throwing out different things, and he says, like, no, you get better at public speaking by public speaking. It's really that simple. And the more you do it, you're gonna have some failures, but in that process, you learn. You learn what works. You find your voice. You find your style. When I speak, I'm not a yeller. You know, my voice might raise a little bit if I'm passionate about something, but I'm not someone who yells. So if I try to mimic someone who yells and who's very, you know, rah-rah, I'm going to mess up and I'm going to sound crazy. And also, I'm not going to be able to sustain that. It becomes an act.
Right.
You're no longer authentic. And people want you. They want the real you. And again, there's being in that Speakers Academy, you see that there's so many different styles that there's enough to go around.
No, absolutely.
You know, someone might want a rah-rah speaker. Someone might want someone who's more of a teacher.
Right.
And so there's opportunities for everything. But if you don't find your voice, you're going to find yourself all over the place.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But I would say again, for building confidence, for me, has just been taking action.
Okay. Yeah. I can agree with that. Practicing something that you want to be good at, or practicing something that you are good at, to be able to do it in front of people, and it doesn't have to always necessarily be a big crowd. Intimate crowd can make me, smaller. Woo, I will freeze up.
the wrong demographic of crowd will throw me off like, oh. Look at it.
Dang it.
right.
So, how did I build my confidence? I think being around the right people. My dad instilled a lot in me. Like, you can do it. You're good at this, but this is how you can be better. So this is how you need to practice it.
Right.
He wasn't Joe, but
he
raised the Joe.
Better than being Ike. So.
He wasn't an Ike either. But
I'm sorry. No, I was going to say, you mentioned being around the right people. And again, I have to say that's so important. With my job, my main job, with Affinity. When I left my previous employer and came over to Affinity, and the president there, I was a little concerned, just because I was like, this is new for me. This isn't just working with kids. This isn't just, a group home setting. And what he's done is he's just put me in various situations and opportunities that I was able to use my skills. And again, it's built my confidence, because coming in, I was just like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. I don't know if I could be a consultant. I don't know if I can do this. And, we have conversations, and he just puts me in different roles where he's like, try this, try this, try this. And again, that comes from being with an employer, being with a company that says, we're going to take whatever you're good at, and we're going to find something to plug that into that's going to benefit you and benefit, the company as well.
Well, and I'm going to say, as an employer, it takes willingness first, because he can take you and he can say, I'm going to find what you're good at and place you in these places that you said that you're not familiar with. But if you're not willing to do it, it still leaves you in the same spot. And I'm saying that from experience, because I'm an employer. It has to start with you. So I'm going to say, I agree. Your circle, if you are in a room full of millionaires, if you have 5 millionaire friends, you're going to be the 6th. If you have 5 broke friends, it's possible you could be the 6th.
Because they begging.
Their habits. Well, their begging. Their habits. They don't understand the grind, which I hate saying hustle and grind, which I'll tell you guys why in a second. But aside from that, I'm going to take it a step further than the action piece, because yes, action. But I feel like confidence is first forced, because there's no way that you start something 100% confident if it's your first time. So you first have to force yourself to do it. And you're either going to win or you're going to fail. And if you win, or if you fail, you got to force yourself to do it again. If you win, now you have to force yourself to do it better next time. So either way, that action, it's a forced action. All right, like, I'm scared,
but I got to do it.
But I'm going to do it. And then each time, as you get better, you'll build confidence. So confidence is never just going to be there. You have to start somewhere, but it starts with the willingness to say, hey, like, regardless of what happens, and then count your small wins. Yes. Everybody wants to count the big wins. I had a standing ovation after I spoke. But what if you didn't? How about you showed up?
So,
you got up there.
Another story. So this year I had the opportunity to do my first commencement speech, and it was at Republic High School in Nashville. And so I go there, and first of all, I'm shell-shocked, because I walk in and it's a lot bigger than I expected it to be. It's in a big auditorium, a gymnasium at Lipscomb University. So again, shout out to my boy Logan with Next Level Speakers. One of my Speakers Academy buddies showed up. He came out to support, and, he helped me be a little more comfortable, because I was scared, like, visibly, like, okay, they said a small charter school. This is like 500 people in here.
Right.
So I was a little shaken up. And so after I spoke, I didn't feel like I did as well as I should have. I wasn't as prepared as I should have been or could have been. But when I walked off the stage, I had that moment. I was just like, hey, nobody's running up to me like they do Jeremy and giving high fives. Jeremy Anderson does or Eric Thomas, or the other speakers you see. It's like, nobody's coming to give me a high five. And so part of me felt like, man, I really didn't do that good, did I? And so my friend who had connected me with the opportunity, Jonathan Cantrell, Pushing for Greater, I gave him a call afterwards, and I was just like, man, I blew it. And, you know, Logan was still in the car, and he was just like, dude, you got up on stage in front of 500 people. And, you know, Jonathan's on the phone, he's fussing. Shut up, don't say that. Like, what are you comparing yourself to? Right. And I was just like, well, what do you mean? He's like, how many commencement speeches have you done in front of that? And I was like, well, none. And he was like, well, now you have. Right. And, you know, again, that having those people, you know, to kind of pick you up when you're trying to, you know, and he was just like, what are you comparing yourself to? Right. You compare yourself to you. Right. You finally did it. You were forced into this situation, or you'll give an opportunity, but you had to take that step to do it. And now take what you've learned. You know, what did you do to prepare? What did you not do to prepare? Right. So, you know, Logan was there again. He gave me some feedback on what he saw. And so now I've had two other, you know, opportunities for situations like that. Not quite as big, but I felt completely different than I did that first time. I felt a lot more confident. I felt a lot more prepared. And I felt like I did, and I got some high fives afterwards. But you know, the key was, it's like you just got to take that first step. And like you said, sometimes you got to have somebody that pushes you. And then once they push you, to kind of help you and dust you off, like, okay, how'd that feel? Now we're going to do it again.
Right. Absolutely.
And you be like, oh, I'm bored.
You got to start somewhere, but you got to be willing. Yes. Because you could have got there and been like, oh, this is too big. I'm good. Right. I mean, you can never make you go there.
Anything.
You had to take that step to say, all right, however it goes, it's going to go. Right. So it's willingness, you guys. Like, and I can't push that enough. Because a lot of people want things. And I always say, if you want something, you're not doing enough. If you want to be successful, if you want to make an impact, if you want to, because you can get what you want, but you could also not get what you want, and you're okay. What makes a difference is when you need it. Look, I need air to breathe. So the only way I'm going to survive is if I breathe in oxygen. Now I need my success. I need my development. I need to get to this point. And once you need it, you're going to do what you got to do. When you hungry, don't you do what you got to do to eat?
You know I do.
That's our favorite thing to do is eat.
Mine too. I ain't mad at you.
You know I do. And eat what I do at the restaurants. Eat all the what? All my food.
All her food.
We don't need to go boxes.
I remember the first time we went to brunch, she got a whole, just so you know, I'm not going to eat a little bit. She got ordered a couple different things. And ate it all.
I'm with you.
I think faster than me too. And I'm greedy, so, but yeah.
Girl, come on. We talking about what? We doing the text right off? We right.
So it's important to understand that confidence is not just going to be there. Anyone who's even on the stage, starting their business, they didn't just pop up, oh, I got this, and start making $1 million and feel successful the day after it happened. It takes practice. You don't get to see what's happening in the background, which is why you never
freeze up when I get ready to dance. You know, I have had anxiety attacks and everything. I cannot breathe, and I have to get on there and act like ain't nothing happened.
I never knew that.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I be praying to the Lord, to the highest sky.
But you can dance, like dance, professional dance. So
hey, they were like, "Are you serious right now?"
Wow.
I have cried before I had to hit the stage because there have been, you know, sometimes I didn't know it was gonna be, you know, as big, and I'm just like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me! But what? You get on there, stuff that you practice. It's like a click. You know that with public speaking. You know that it's like a click, and I don't see nothing.
Well, and you learn how to prepare yourself. So, like for me, I know that one thing I hate, and I will say this: I hate reading from something when I'm speaking. And if I do it, I will notice instantly that I'm doing a terrible job. Because I like to connect, and I can't connect if I keep having to do this. And if I look up, I got to find my place again. So I don't like that, and I will not ever do a good job if I have to. So, but I also know I'm not going to memorize everything, especially if you're telling me I need to do a 45-minute, you know.
Right.
So instead, I've learned prepare your key topics. So that way, I'm talking, I know about this, I'll talk about it. I'll look down, and then so you find what works for you. Like, find what works for you, and build those practices. Also, my family will tell you, everybody come in the room, sit on the bed.
I'm gonna practice.
Yeah. like I'm gonna practice. And if anything, I'm my biggest critic, but they gonna criticize me faster than somebody who don't know me because like, oh, mom. So if I can take care of
right.
If I can take
You
care of
need to fix that.
You'd be like,
right.
ooh,
Right.
my soul.
Right.
Crush it.
So yeah, so I mean, practice. Even in the public speaking class that I teach, I always tell them, like, if you don't start practicing, like, you have to practice. You have to.
Anything. That's what builds the confidence. Even when you are nervous, you need to practice your craft, whatever it is that you love doing.
I've gotten to a point with acting, right? It used to be a point where I would go try out for different plays and stuff, and I'd have a monologue prepared, prepare a monologue. Because, you know, they usually want you to read first, and then after you read, then they'll give you parts they want you to read in the play based on who they think you fit better as. I would do these monologues, and then during the monologue, I'd forget part of it. So instead, and I've gotten really good at this, I do not do a monologue. I'll go up according to whatever the play is about. Like, if I know it's drama, if it's comedy, or whatever, and I'll just think of something in my head, and I'll play it out like it was a monologue. Like I'm talking to somebody about, or I'm talking to myself about. And
I can't get past that. That's why I won't do acting. I'm not gonna get up. No.
Yeah, so I've gotten really good. I've gotten really, really good at that. So again, learn what works for you, but you have to master your craft. So I have a question, and I'm gonna ask this because I've heard it in a couple of different ways, where people say. You have those people who say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know, you know, have backup plans, have a plan A, B, C, D, E, even the F. Then you have those other people who say, but if you don't put your eggs in a basket, you're giving yourself an option to not be able to do that. On top of the fact that now you're spread too far. So how do you master one thing? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I take my things one at a time. So, like, for me, if I'm a hair braider, I worked on that for a year before I started even really posting. People knew that I braided, but I was not. They were about to get me. So I would not post until I felt it was perfected to the point where by the time I was posting, salons were wanting me in their shops. Yes, to come in. And so then, so I mastered that. Then the next thing would be, I think I told you about dinner with hustlers. So the next thing was, okay, I got that mastered. Now let me focus on how to actually write out to help people change their mindset on how things are done. So I literally took like 3 or 4 months writing to different the topics and sending them to people that I knew could look over them. Mastered, for me, it was mastering how to relay the message correctly in an understanding way that people can comprehend it. So that was one thing. And then maybe now with AEB, Lord Jesus.
But I still don't feel like, even with what you're saying, I don't feel like you have a bunch of different eggs. I still feel like you have one egg.
I put one egg over here and then I add another egg.
Yeah,
so I do it in the order.
So, but you don't have a bunch of backup plans. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I guess this is what I'm trying to say. The difference is like people say, like my son always says, I'm going to the NBA, and people say, well, you need to have a backup plan. I don't have a backup plan because I'm going to the NBA.
Yeah,
all right.
I don't.
So
I don't think I have. It gotta work.
And that's kind of how it gotta work.
Yeah, it just gotta work.
What about you?
I think it varies. You know, like again, I work with a lot of young people, and I think there's certain things you can control and certain things you can't. Going to the NBA is something you can work towards, but you really can't control that.
So yeah, my eggs, I think I got control over.
Right. So when it comes to the things that we're doing, when it comes to entrepreneurship and things like that, or just your career, a lot of times you have control over that. So for me personally, again, as my confidence is built and I begin to walk in my purpose on purpose, I'm putting everything towards one goal. Now the beauty of it is what I'm doing. It's able to kind of spread out in different areas.
8 arms, like an octopus.
But I'm focused specifically on community, helping people, my young people, and things of that nature. Even my job, again, going back to Affinity, they've been able to create things for me that still fall under what I'm doing, what I'm good at. And I feel like when you do put all your eggs in one basket and you focus, you start seeing that happen more organically. And so you're not, wanting to be a braider, but then I want to paint houses. And then I'm going to be a mechanic too. And so it's kind of like, how are you going to do all of those things?
That don't connect.
Now you can create processes to where you can say, okay, I'll start this business because I know how to do that. And then I'll have somebody run it.
Right.
Or I'll open up a salon and I know a young lady who does hair, or I know people who, and I can have them run it. But then you're still going to need to be focused in
whatever
one area. Because if you're spread too thin, then nothing's going to get the attention that it needs.
Right. So I'm going to say eggs all in one basket kind of person. Now, similarly, I have octopus arms on my basket. So as long as they all can fit, there's a couple things going on in this basket. So I don't just have one egg in one basket. I got about 8 eggs in one basket, but it's still one. But the way I see it, even in the sense of something that may seem like a 0 to 100 chance, like the NBA. So this is what I tell him. You have that one egg and you have your egg in that basket. Look, NBA, I'm not having a backup plan because this is where I'm at. So you have people who aren't going to go as hard because they're, but if I don't do this, I can do this. Don't give yourself another choice. But along that way, if that's not what's supposed to happen, it'll lead you towards your purpose. So just like you said with the person who wants to sing, who can't sing, they put their eggs in that basket, but they found it along the way. I'm a writer. I'm still in the music industry.
Right.
Still making a lot of money. The writer, the producer makes more than the person who sings it anyway. So this is where it led me to. For him, it may lead him something in sports, but maybe not basketball. I won't let him watch this episode because he will not be happy with me.
well, I would also say this because again, I never want to discourage anyone from their dream. So what I've learned to do when it comes to guys, because I used to always say that, what if you don't make it? What if you get hurt? Knock on wood, never want. But it's like, okay, so what about after basketball? Because you can't play in the NBA till you're 80.
Right, exactly.
You can't, so at some point you're going to have to retire.
Instead of it being
so instead
negative.
of what's your plan B, it's like, okay, what's your plan A after basketball?
Right.
So you make it to the NBA, you retire, then what?
Right.
What are you going to do next?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and in NBA, as much money as you have, you can do something else too. Like I told him, I said, along with the NBA, you need to cook, boy, because you can cook. So finding something that you can still, it's different when you got limited funds, but if you're in the NBA, you make enough that you can do something else too. Like they own businesses.
Absolutely.
So
because they're preparing for
what's next
when this is over with.
Right.
They understand.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'd say that would be another way to start approaching it. Instead of like, what's your plan B? What's your plan A for after basketball?
Right. And it's still all in one basket because I do, and I actually heard Steve Harvey say this about that whole egg in the basket. Is if you do have a bunch of backup plans, you're giving yourself that one again. If I do it, I do it. But if I don't, then okay,
it's your way out.
Right. I don't have a way out.
It's gotta work.
It's gotta work, and I'll do what I gotta do until it works. And you never know, as long as you go, you grow, and as you grow, you may find that maybe it's not exactly what you wanted 5 years ago, but this is what it's turned into because this is what I've grown to love. This is how I figured out who I am and what I'm supposed to do. So honestly, mine was children. I teach more adults than children now. And I will tell you, I don't generally like adults. But I love being able to watch someone grow. I love being able to see someone achieve something that's like, I didn't think I'd be able to achieve that. I didn't know that I could do that. That is where my passion is. No matter, I don't care if it's a 2-year-old or a 55-year-old. That's just how I feel. So, well, you guys, we are at. And we're over an hour.
Wow.
You guys let us go over an hour. So good conversation.
Definitely.
I want to thank you again, Adrian.
Thank you for having
for
me.
coming out and spending this whole over an hour with us. So we talked about walking in purpose, on purpose, and building confidence. I hope you guys grabbed some really good nuggets from this conversation. We are looking forward to having you back.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in to Talk Uncensored, and we'll see you again next time.